time.
Bro, it's that lovely phrase like, when will I meet my equal?
Yeah.
Right? It's so true in fighting, because even if you do, it's like you can train again to maybe beat them, right? And like that's always been like also the exciting part about it is like, yeah, how far can you take this, right? How far can I really take this? Well, I see that pro contract in front of me to sign. That's like a huge goal, right? So
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Kickin' It. To support the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and you follow along, and you also stop by the merchandise store to pick up some awesome content for yourself and for that fighter inside your life. The following is a conversation with Joey Defibaugh. He is a Muay Thai fighter fighting out of Tampa Bay, Florida at Tampa Muay Thai. In this conversation, we discuss his past year of 2022, in which it is one of the hardest years that he has ever had as a fighter. He was supposed to have 6 fights throughout the entire year. He ended up only having 1. And in that one fight that he had, he suffered a technical knockout. Despite the trajectory of the year, he was still able to move forward and persevere because he recognized the important things of life. We discuss his mindset going throughout the entire year and how he was able to continue and push through stronger and stronger. There are many lessons that can be taken from this conversation that can be applied to life, and I hope that you all enjoy listening and learning from Joey as much as I have learned from Joey throughout my years of knowing him. My friends, this is Joey Defibaugh. What's up, my dude?
good to see you, Rex.
Likewise. All right, so
Round 3.
yeah, you're my first three-peater.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Boom.
Make sure I got that count right. I remember.
Yeah.
First one was that weight cut, or
Actually, no.
before the weight cut.
I don't count the weight cut because that wasn't really a podcast. I was just following you guys around with the camera.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Thank you again, as always. You've had a year,
To say the least, yeah. One would say a lot of bad luck. It's definitely done a lot, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been, I guess if you want to say the positives first, right? I've been kept in shape the whole year, minus like one little time frame where I was taking time off for my last loss being a TKO, so I had to respect that non-sparring little thing to help my brain out. So other than that, rolled ankle here, a couple fights falling out, one in New York, big one in New York fell out, one up in arms now from the December 17th that a guy found out on Monday night that I had an opponent, and then like going into like Wednesday, nope. So now we're here again.
So let's go into like detail from like the beginning to the end. Let's paint this picture of what this year has been like for you, because I know what your year has been like, but I don't think a lot of other people do, and I can tell it, but I want to hear it from like your mouth, and I know, and I recognize that this is going to taste very bitter leaving your mouth, but
oh yeah, no, there's a lot. I mean, no personal resentment, because humans are humans. They're gonna do certain things, whether like my situation, one of them, I rolled my ankle literally before walking out to the fight. My opponent wasn't all pissed at me. He came back and wished me the best of luck, so there's that. So when I get people that got pulled out in like 2 days of accepting the fight, it sucks, but it also is the amateur game. That's what Dato said to me. So that's what you can expect. I was assuming the opposite. It's like got 9 fights, got weight class 150 down 50, 155, or sorry, 150, 155, or 147 if it's like competitive. So good range, you would think, to get more frequent on opponents, but no. Definitely started out rough, right? Had a bad experience with a weight cut, changed my diet completely, got that down.
What happened at that weight cut?
I was just coming down from too heavy, too fast. Something you shouldn't do when you're definitely in your mid-20s, after so many years of trying to do that. It's gonna eventually catch up with you, I feel like, and you can't cut weight like you're a 17-year-old again. So there's that. But
so like, what exactly happened? Like, where did you start from? What weight were you aiming for? How fast did that happen? And Like, what happened with your, like, how did your body feel?
Let's see, I was reckless, starting off too heavy for a fight at 155, which normally I walk around max like 165, like, even after like eating, drinking a bunch of water, right? So that's always been my natural walk around weight for the last, like, handful of years. I was hovering 175 the week prior to the fight, like 74, 75, 76, right? So I was just way too big, right? Even to feel good when I was training. So it's like, felt kind of whatever about it. I was like, I've done this before, I'll just, cut the weight and be fine. And then like the day of the weigh-ins, I just had the worst like pain in my lower back. And I had no idea what it was because I've never experienced that before, right? So I'm just like, what's going on? And I was already way out of it in my head. I could barely talk to people. So they just told me he pointed to go upstairs at the gym and lay down on the couch, and hang out, right? And not do anything because I couldn't, right? And then the pain persisted. I couldn't even turn left or right. And
it was like just your kidneys just dumping on you?
Pretty much, that was the conclusion. No one else had any other, I would say, medical opinion on it, but from, I guess, just fighter experience over time, they're probably like, most likely your just kidneys are cramping real bad. So it was a real quick decision to be like, all right, you start rehydrating right now, you're not gonna fight. And I felt so bad about that because, you put we fight, but you put your gym name on your back when you do anything, right? So that was me also letting down my coaches a lot. So that made me feel even worse. So then I got like whatever in my brain all set after rehydrating over the weekend, not fighting, of course, getting an earful from, Jill, Dato about it. So after that, then I'm like, all right, there's one thing I got to get down to, diet at this point. So whatever that is, clean it up, ignore some things, as much as I want to eat all the junk food in the world, can't do that no more. So I've definitely been more honest to myself about how much I cook for myself, how many times I eat out, and like I was just telling you, I'm constantly hovering 165. So the fight thereafter that, right, which was that big title fight I had in May, which also got me super excited because I never fought for a title before. You're getting amped, right? It helped distract me from things like the personal life that was going on, so I was able to just focus on this, right? And the training camp was like, it wasn't horrible, but it was grueling, it was intense. I got pushed like crazy. It felt so good, right? And my diet was on point, I'd hit the scales at 153 for a fight at 155. So, not just on championship weight, but came in under, as professional as you probably can be, right? And unfortunately, as you watched when you were there, I didn't win. So that, then stumbled into the next, like, I guess, decline, or not decline, I say, but string of bad luck for me throughout the year, right? Because I just, saw that I still fought emotionally, I thought I kind of kicked that, right? I was a little more intelligent. I fight with Fernando back in December, so I thought that was just gonna carry over, right? No. Got dropped once with an elbow when he was entering the clinch, and that really, really rocked me. And then from there, I kind of just was only focused on trying to hit him as hard as he hit me back, right? And usually that's kind of a red flag in a fight that
You're playing his game.
Not just I wouldn't say playing his game, but you kind of start losing the fight, right? Because now you start fighting with emotion. And you never want to fight with emotion. Like, yeah, sure, you want to sit down on your punches when you have them hurt, take advantage of them when you have them hurt, but once you start adding your emotion into the game, you fall for all the distractions, right? You don't stick to your game plan, you start fighting their fight, right? Which started slowly happening into that third into that fourth round, right? And you saw what happened. Fourth round, he gets that good punch. I snuck an uppercut in there, but it clearly wasn't enough. It wasn't the one that, ended the show. It was his cross, that overhand / cross that dropped me the second time. And even though I still got back up, it's like it was enough for the referee to be like, nah, like 2 knockdowns. It's been a long, fun fight. So he made me upset that he stopped it, but it was better that he did.
Plus, you didn't respond.
Well, I was just kind of standing there. I got up. My hands were up there. It just like, I didn't say a word to him, which kind of was awkward, which makes sense, you know, when they're trying to ask you a question. But it's fighting, you know, sometimes you've seen in fights where they let the guys get knocked down like 3 different times and they let them, you know, go. You see fights like the Izzy Pereira fight where, you know, that fairly good stoppage by Mark Goddard, honestly, where you're pretty much saving a fighter. So as much as you want to always go down on your shield, you know, it's good. It's good for your mental health and your physical health when a referee actually it does their job right? You know, so I have nothing against that. But, you know, like we're talking, it continued into a just downward, like bad luck, couldn't catch a break, right, the whole year. So messing around with that, had to take the time off because of the TKO, you're technically suspended. So especially when you have a good coach, they're not going to let you spar for however long that is. And I got to take a month off, so it's nice, right? I didn't get too big, right, thankfully. I just was kind of playing it here, having a little bit of cheat meals, you know, more than normal, but, you know, still working out, so stay in shape, right? And into that, what was it? All the guys fought at Siam Fight League, in Daytona. And that was really hyped because I had a chance to get on that card. Ironically, it was the guy that pulled out of the title fight with me initially, so I was like, sure, but I ended up wanting to. So it would have been up at 160 or 165, I think, so I didn't even have to cut any weight. But that didn't happen, so I was like, whatever, still showed up to the event, and we won, we won three out of the 4 fights.
3 out of 4 fights, yeah.
Yeah, 3. Even Chase was win, not a no contest. I don't care what anyone says. Jerry went down, and he got murdered by Chase.
Yeah.
He ducked into that flying knee. And then just took a bunch of elbows, which was nice to see. It was nice to see Kai, like, which is so funny. He's like, yeah, I just, you know, realized that I could finish you guys. And we're all like, yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, you can. Even he dropped him with his cross again, and then he just took him to the corner, you know, and finished him with a nice combo. And the ref was like, no, this guy's not responding. So that was good to see. Bobby had a fun fight again, right? You know, so that, and Chris made a guy skate around the ring, you know, just with that right hand, just stiff boxing. So it was good to see them perform, and that got me excited again. So I started training again for, I would say, probably my biggest fight I've ever had scheduled, which was that one in New York. And then that fell through, right? I didn't get like enough things in order, right? So I couldn't go to it. So I was like, well, can't leave Tampa, so I can't fight. And then that was really upsetting because they were trying to come at us about like the whole, like, you know, but flights were booked, and it's like, okay, well, I literally can't control this. So that was kind of hard to convince, made me feel bad because, you know, it's I never try to let my, like, you know, outside life, my personal life affect, you know, my competition, my gym, right? You know, I've left jobs for that because I want to make sure that I have Muay Thai in my life, right? Not just because I like to fight or that I'm now, I guess, a good coach too, right? But because it helps with my mental health, right? It's like I literally do it like, mainly for that. It just conveniently keeps me in shape, right? That's just the caveat. But like for me, it's always been to, you know, better my brain, you know, be happier, just stop thinking about the BS that's outside versus just we're here and now, right? This is the only thing that matters for this hour if you're doing one class or if you're there like for 2 hours because it's fight camp and Dato keeps you for an extra 30 minutes to do sprint kicks, right? So that's always been why I do it. So when that fight got taken from me, that was a little bit of where it really started to affect me like mentally, where I'm just like, well, when am I going to fight again, right? Like, when am I going to be allowed to fight again? Is it going to be this year? Is it going to be the end of next year? Like, how long do I have to wait? And then the World to Muay Thai Grand Prix rolls around, right? I get excited again because it's like, ready, I'm in shape. I got those things on the outside of my life, you know, figured out and in place, so they're never going to affect like my fights again. So that's under control. And then we get to through the whole training camp, you know, Chase is training for that title. That's in the main event. We got 2 other guys fighting on that card. You know, Gabo was fighting again. Jake was making his debut. It was a fun night, right? And then I'm in there, in the back room. Bobby's warming me up. He's he's gonna corner me for this fight before he went off to the army. So this was like a really, really big moment. And I'll get into the one part a little bit after to explain the issue. But I was asked him wore his Prajat, right, which is the armband that they wear in Thai fights to help. It's like made for you, and that's like the key word there in a little bit. It's like that's kind of a personal thing, but I'm like, my friend, it would have been so cool getting ready, warmed up. We're working my switch kick in this little like back, like warehouse store here kind of area at the gym, and it was at the Jackson Muay Thai gym in Jacksonville. And just boom, switch kick, 1-2, switch kick, just keeping it going. The guys are kind of calling like, all right, we're gonna need you to go into the little like waiting area before we walk out for the next fight. And the last one I throw, I like step down on the switch, which you go from, for me it's like I'm a lefty, so my left foot's in my back, my right foot goes back after you do a little like hop, right? And on that little hop, I rolled my right ankle bad in the back room, whereas like I slipped on some shit or whatever, I don't know, but rolled right over on it, and I couldn't stand on it for the rest of the night and into the morning. I was limping, had to be like hopped around with Jake and Dee and many other people helping me to get to Ale House afterwards, which was nice. I haven't been to Ale House in a while, but it was just a funny experience being, a little handicapped for a bit, just being like hop, hop, hop on people's shoulders and just being like, I was literally this close to fighting again. And then I got stripped from me another time, right, because of a reckless injury. And that was just like another one where even though I was happy to be around everybody, I'm driving back with my mom and I'm just like, I wasn't saying anything about it, but I just felt terrible, right? Because I'm like that was the worst of bad luck I feel like you could ever get, where you're right about to do the thing you want to do and then it's like, nope, your body said no. Freak little accident, right? It was fun to see Chase win his belt, right? First Muay Thai Grand Prix American champion, right? That's pretty cool. But, it's still kind of salty where it's like I wanted to be able to compete with everybody, to be, even though we didn't sweep the card that night, but it's still like, you're so excited in there, you wanted to compete. And so that was a little confusing to deal with, right? Where you're like, yeah, we're all happy, but also like, no, I'm not that happy right now. Like I feel emotionally detached from this a little bit, right? And again, that thought of like, will I fight again just got, stronger. And pretty much the last 2 months have been similar as far as like getting ready for something, a promotion having my name for like 6 weeks now, right? No matchup yet. Started last week. I'm like, Dato, can we hit up these other guys? Like, just in town, in Tampa promotion. So that was going to be pretty cool because it's local. And then they're like, yeah, we got you a guy. And that led into kind of, I guess, mentioned it before. One day it was like, hey, we have your opponent. And then less than 2 days later, no, we doesn't want to fight you. So it's a bittersweet because I don't know the reason. It doesn't sound like injury. It just literally sounds like, oh, we didn't realize his record was this much or something like that. But yeah, that's where we are now, I guess, right? Still looking, right? Whether it be Tampa or Orlando, but nonetheless, yeah.
So the bad weight cut, and then the Moritz fight, and then missed the Daytona fight.
Just watching, everybody fight.
The New York fight, and then missed the Jacksonville fight, and then including this one. So there were 6.
Well, we're not. Hopefully this one doesn't fall through, right? Hopefully we get somebody by the end of next Saturday, But a week, no, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, we still got time. So I haven't given up so much hope yet, and that's, I guess, a good thing about the community that we have at Tampa Muay Thai. Is like I have too many people around me, helping me out not to give up on, just continue training. You'll find something. So that's been, like, I guess, the net positive of our gym recently. The amount of people that have come together and have pushed each other more has definitely increased the last, I would say, year, which is great, right? Chase has been a great addition to the team. So that's been valuable, right? We all have another guy, similar, young, very talented, right? Super talented, that's also able to push you, like, in a good way, not gonna hurt you at all or injure you, right? Which is, we need a lot more of that at our gym. So that has definitely helped me a lot through this whole year. It's just, I have a good family behind me.
So that's you doing well at the gym, and I know from taking like back-to-back L's, it's good when you're in front of people, but when you're at home by yourself and it's just you in a bed in a dark room and the lights are off, how has that been?
Not too bad. I don't overthink things too much, luckily, which is good most of the time. Sometimes I think it's better than not. Especially with that, I kind of been, like I said, the family at the gym and just the constant training for camps, has kept me from sitting in that little bubble by myself, right? Because if I ever am in there in the dark room, laying in bed at night, I only have probably about like 4 to 10 minutes of awakeness before my body's just like, you need to rest. So it kind of goes into automatic shutdown mode when I'm laying down, which is nice. It means I'm doing a lot. So that's like, I think and I think coaching too has been helping mentally, right? Coaching, I've been taking over the kids class the last month and a half or so now. I think that as a challenge has been great, has changed me. So I never thought I would be a good kids coach. I always thought like I'd like the teens because I started when I was a teen. I kind of know what it takes to like, have them stay focused and, not, become reckless in their training during that hour. Versus like, I just don't feel like I had that with, the, I guess, mid-tier of kids, right? That like 6-year-old to like 12 gap, right? So that has been a positive change in me mentally, where I'm like, oh, this is fun. I like it. I would call them like they're like my little army. It's great.
Bunch of southpaw.
No. I'm not trying to. I promise. I'm not
cloning
say
Joey's.
that to Jill and the Dato. I am not trying to make everyone into a southpaw. I promise. As much as I want to, I'm still trying to make sure. Yeah, find your own stance. If it's your left foot, cool. If not, whatever. No. Not trying to make everyone a southpaw. Okay. But yeah, it's been definitely such a like net positive for me mentally. Is just having like seeing their excitement when they get to do things and when they do it right. It's like the best. It's the only thing that's happening in the world right now, right? Which is the sole point of that. I feel like from martial arts is like, this is all that matter right now is the present, what you're doing. You're trying to get better at this right here. And outside, whatever you did at school, if the teacher yelled at you or something, or for me, it was always forgetting to do my homework or choosing not to do my homework, right? And just, you're just, nothing else it matters, right? It's perfect. And to see there's excitement when they do something, that reward factor is like at that moment, they don't need like a piece of candy, like a sweet to make them excited, or when their parent hands them the phone, right? Like they don't need that anymore at that moment to get that excitement. They got it just by doing something normal with another group of little humans.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I get them do like spinning side kicks or cartwheel kicks on the bag, because it's like a little fun game at the end, right?
You're doing cartwheel kicks?
Yeah. Well, Bobby helped try to get that going before me, right? But yeah, I'll line them up like at the end when we're doing the drills, and just like like a I don't know what you want to call it, like a crazy kick day or something, right? Where you just show them like a cool technique on the bag, and I get them to do it like 10 times or so.
And then they get excited because they're doing it now?
Yeah, they're doing it, a ninja move. It's pretty much what it is, right? They're doing a little ninja move. And that like makes their day. And it's great to see. And when they do a game too at the end after they got all the technique down, it's like, yeah, their day is made. It's perfect. I think that's done a lot for my mental health during this little year, right? It's just like, yeah, I have other things to think about as far as like whom I'm helping in the community, right? I have a bigger, job other than just Joey the fighter.
It's bigger than you.
Yeah, way bigger. At this point, the last year it's expanded a lot, and I've just been like, oh, true. People still coming up to me, calling me coach. It's like, are you sure? Like it's head scratcher.
I guess we should call you crew instead.
No. I'm not. That's not me.
Okay,
I don't have that title. No,
not yet.
Yep, no, I don't have that title.
What do you got to do? What do you have to do to earn that title?
I think there's like a test, not formal testing. I wouldn't be the one to tell you honestly how I become a formal crew in Muay Thai. That's true. That'd be a better question for like maybe Alex knows.
No, I
feel
that
like-
opportunity.
Oh, true. Damn. I feel like if there's anyone, he would know.
Yeah. Did you know he actually comes from like American Muay Thai like straight lineage? Yeah,
He's
I didn't
OG,
know that.
bro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know him much when I was first starting, but I would see him frequent here and there at my first gym, Dynasty Muay Thai, because he knew my coaches. So it's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Florida.
I had no idea. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like we have royalty in our gym.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's one of the OGs. He smacked Cyrus Washington back in the day.
Yeah. And like everything makes
Who's
sense
now
now.
Who's now the Freedom World Champion for Freedom Fight promotion. So just technically by proxy, if you're like one of those mathematicians, it technically makes Alex, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, no, but yeah, but like no, it's this actually makes me feel really good to hear that you've been through all this stuff, but you're not letting it beat you down because you recognize that the world's bigger than Joey Defibaugh, and there's so much more to do. And
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I do like register my feelings during it and like how I truly felt at certain points. But it's also like like I have to wake back up the next morning and teach people, right? Or have clients that are relying on me to prep them for like their level 1 tests, like Caroline or something, right? Like
she's taking it.
yeah.
Oh, she'll
She should be taking it on.
Oh, she'll be
on
fine.
Next one. Yeah, I keep telling her that she's like nervous, but that's normal.
Yeah.
But it's like like knowing that it's like I am sad, but right, Chase just won us another belt, right? That back during that event when I hurt myself, I'm like, that's another one for the gym. That's a team. Like even though he won it, it's like we all win those belts too. Like even though it's only around one individual, there's a lot of work that goes into that.
When people walk into the gym and they see that line of belts on the wall, that's a statement of the gym.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to train here.
Yeah, we have like the credentials for the quality, or that the credentials match the quality that we have at our gym, right? It's not just like we do good authentic Muay Thai. It's like no, we do good authentic Muay Thai. Look at all these shiny things, right? And then that's like I said, that's what's been helping. Having he sends me random messages on Instagram about things, right? Stuff like that. Motivational stuff, highlights or combos to think of. Kai does the same thing, right? And then my friend Pablo and Oscar will do the same thing. They always like pat my back and make sure to tell me it's like, just keep looking forward at it, right? Those are the little things that any fighter should needs during those moments where it's like they can't get a fight for like a year, right? Whether it be injuries, not bad matchmaking. Wink, wink. Not trying to say any names because I'm not going to do that right now, but bad matchmaking on promotions. Right, all the fun stuff. So that's what I said. The family at the gym, because they're not just friends. This has built a family next to me that helps me not only prepare for fights and cut weight and make sure I'm dieting properly, but they've helped me stay positive, every step of the way. Especially this whole last year. This 2022 has kind of been horrible.
It's been a wild year.
It sucked.
Yeah.
I don't know, for everybody, it's kind of chaotic out there, but it has sucked for me personally. So. It's good to have people keep me positive.
So what are you focusing on nowadays then?
Training, training for fights, staying active, staying on point with my weight, so that if it is something that's last minute, because now we did sparring today, and it's like I've felt good for so many weeks now, right? And even though I still do the conditioning with Jill, it's like I feel like great. So I feel like a fight in like a week, 2 weeks, a few days. If I just, have to cut the weight, I can do that in 3 days. Like everything's kind of on point, right? So I'm just literally waiting, like that's been like the kind of joke I've been trying to help myself out. Like I'm literally waiting just to be like, all right, how many days do I have to make 150, right? It's pretty much what it is. What do I have to do? Everything is on point. So it's like, TikTok, right? It's like, come on, give me something that's gonna stick at least. So that's what I've been just focusing on. When I get in there, I have my job that I got to do, right, to make sure that teaching efficiently, making sure I'm staying on track with the kids, so that they stay focused and that they're learning, not just Muay Thai, but a good life lesson from me, right? that's something that I'm really trying to focus on, is making sure that, you know, the coach of me, like that part of my personality is taking like center point, at least at the moment, but I'm still training just, you know, when the joke, you know, when the call comes, right? But like just still keeping and making sure that everything's on point as far as the weight, still sparring, still doing the conditioning days, so I'm not getting lazy or tired, still running on my own time when I can, right? You know, just making sure. You know, gotten way better at this, thankfully, over the, that's what, I guess I'm not positive, right, at this year. I've gotten way better at, you know, managing certain things, not only outside of my life, but inside of, you know, the gym.
No, you've been taking more responsibility at the gym, and we've all noticed. It's really
He's
cool.
got to do it. I mean, if you want to, that's my passion. So,
Tell me about teaching the kids.
oh, dude, it's great. It's phenomenal, dude. Like I said, I went into it being hesitant, and I guess personally overly critical of how my my performance would be. No, they've been great. Like I said, mentally they've been great for me. It's good to see them like all really like engaged, like they want to learn Muay Thai. So it's not just like their parents threw them here because, you know, I don't want to deal with you for an hour. It's like, no, like the kids are genuinely like engaged. They're being put here because they like to be there. So the parents not just like saying, you know, screw off for an hour, right? Which you definitely see in sports.
Yeah.
That is a thing that parents do. It's okay, right? So that's good to see that it's also something that they clearly talk about and discuss, maybe even practice at home, because it's not like they come back and it's almost like a weird reset. Like they look like they're doing their stuff on their free time, and they're willing to ask other questions about what they want to do next, or things, or they're prompting things that they want to do in class, which I think is funny, because I'm like, no. Like, I already have a lesson plan. Like they're like, Sharon comes up to me, and she's a cute little like 6-year-old girl, super fucking talented, right? Oh, that's like what, 30 minutes? My first like F-bomb? Yo. That's good control. I tried so hard, dude. I'm sorry. But
dude, just rest yourself, man. This is a no limits place.
I know. No, this definitely is.
Just don't start spouting off on, you know.
We don't have to. We don't have to go there.
You don't need an Alex Jones moment.
Oh god, that's just what is going on with the world right now. But anyways, because, you know, better things to talk about, like Muay Thai and kids class that I get to deal with every day, or five days of the week.
Sharon.
Yeah, man, Sharon's super talented. She gets engaged, and she's one of the ones, like when she comes in, she full sprints to the back match with, like, she's got such a big smile on her face, like she wants to be there, dude. And you see Brazeley, he wants to be there when he's learning things, right? Gideon's back, you know, he's one of the older, like I think he's a teenager now, 12, 13, you know, around that age, right? You know, wants to be there. He's funny too. He's got good jokes, right? You got the two, because I said it's a weird kids class, so I have like two other like 13 and a 14-year-old, so technically teenagers. So hopefully that breeds into having also a teens class that I get to teach, which is great. I get to bring up my own little fight team, which is cool.
Little army of Joeys.
Dude, no, we're not making them southpaws. I told you.
I didn't say southpaw. I just said just an army.
But that's the meme. Like you look
Right.
at my Instagram handle is Moist Southpaw, right? It's like that's who I am. But yeah, it's just seeing, like I said, seeing how engaged they are. Seeing like Sharon will just want to discuss what game she wants to play at the end, and is trying to explain to me like what her sister does in her pre-K or her kindergarten stuff that she. And I'm just like, this is great. This is an active, casual conversation, but with a 6-year-old. they're like talking. Yeah, like they're little humans. They just want to have conversations with you and tell you how their day was, right?
And the best part is they don't hold back either.
Oh, they're great. They're pretty much, it's like, I guess the childish trait that, oh, my mouth's getting dry, dude. That I kept on, like, from growing up was that, just like, you know, having little to no filter, which I think helps breed good conversations with people, right? And going on like that little F-bomb finally 30 seconds in, right? Or 30 minutes in, dude, that is one of the things I will say that's challenging with teaching the kids, is I am trying not to be that guy. I haven't done it yet, which is great, right? But it is so hard, that 1 hour of me just trying not to say fuck or this or shit.
You said yet.
Well, I don't, like I said, I'm not perfect, so I'm not trying to like put things out of discussion for chance to happen, right? So we haven't gotten there yet, and hopefully we never get there, right? Or at least when we do, it's the teens class, and it's, I can get away with it. Right?
At that point, they're teens.
Yeah, they've heard worse on the video game forums and stuff. Like, I've been there. I know what things are said on the internet and on PvP, like in Call of Duty, right?
I've been on 4chan.
Yeah, I've been on Reddit forums. I've been on Discord forums. Yeah.
So, this is all awesome stuff to hear. So, I shared a phrase with you earlier this week. And it was,
we can get into this.
And you said you were gonna marinate on it.
I did a little bit.
You did a little bit. So the phrase is, tough times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make tough times.
That has been an interesting phrase to hear going around. Because who is it? You hear what? You've heard Lex Friedman mention it and talk about it. Obviously, Rogan, Tim Pool. I'm sure many other of those podcaster types have.
Jocko Willink.
Yeah, they've brought it up for sure. Him definitely, given his military background, he's probably emphasized it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's I feel like how the individual feels about it, right? In their community, the macro level, like, I guess so community and country, world, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I think you were saying the other day, like, the individual themselves. But you left me with the question: what time do you think, or what phrase are we in?
Who are you? What time are you in? And that can be answered any which way you choose to.
I think I'm transitioning through the tough times part, given, I guess, our whole podcast last 35 minutes or so of what we've been discussing about my last year of my life. So I think that's where I personally fall, which I guess is kind of good, because that means potentially I keep working with myself and just quote unquote grinding and just staying like focused on the task at hand, right? The bigger picture, right? Maybe not just eventually I will compete again soon, but just progressing this new venture and teaching kids for the first time in my life, just all those new challenges. I think it's a good transition, because that means very soon, however long that next transition is, I'll be chilling. I'll be in some good times. So personally, that's where I fall, right?
So you're a tough man leaving the tough times right now. So up ahead of the good times.
In theory, that's what. Yeah, hopefully it's not many more months of these tough times. But
what would you do if the next 6 months, God forbid, if the next 6 months were a repeat?
I mean, just keep teaching, right? Whether if things fall through on the fight end, the next 3 to 6 months, let's say, just keep teaching, right? Keep focusing on progressing the kids. Keep focusing on. I also have to help my friends prepare for their fights. So again, it's as much as fighting is selfish, it's also very much not so, right? At all. It's all about the team, especially if you have a good team behind you. You got to help them out, right? So
I've actually thought about this a lot, and I haven't said anything to anybody, and I actually wanted to wait till this conversation, this moment, to have it, because I had a feeling that we were going to reach a moment in this conversation where we could have it. And I've heard the phrase that you said just now, like sometimes fighting is selfish, but then when you actually look back on it, like through nature, through evolution, even just Homo sapiens, we bond through just fight moments. And it's not like a Western, Eastern thing. It's like all of society historically has had gladiator type moments that has brought people together. And it wasn't always with gladiators where people fought to the death. Sometimes people just have like, there are still like tribes that exist today in like the middle of Africa, where they have like a champion, and they just have like their own form of wrestling where the village gathers around and they just wail on each other. But then it brings people together, and and at the end of it, they're like, "Yay, we just had a moment, and then we're done." So, I think getting into fights is selfish, but I think fighting is one of the most community building things in existence. Like,
You see fight events. Look how many people want to watch and gather to them.
And it's deeper than just fight events because sporting events.
Yeah, like competition.
Hockey, football, those are physical things where they're beating each other up. No, like almost as hard as we do sometimes. Sometimes even harder.
Oh, I think football is worse.
Yeah,
I've always been on that train.
Yeah, those guys are 350 pounds
going like this.
Yeah, and
that's just a force to be reckoned with later in life.
And it unites people like nothing else. Look at the World Cup. 500 million people are tuning in to watch England play against France or whatever.
You think that just like maximizes the concept of humans loving and needing community?
Community. I think it's community and seeing what humans are capable of. Because I may not be able to hit a 3-pointer consistently from mid-court, but I know that Kyrie Irving can because he's fucking Kyrie Irving. And just watching that and he's someone that I can cheer for. Because I may not be there, or in your case, I'm never gonna step into the ring, I've got other things going on in my life, but when I see you step into the ring, the day that you fought Moritz, I cheered harder for you and everyone in that ring, like you, Phil, Bobby, than I've ever cheered for anything in my life. And when you got KO'd, when Ronnie got KO'd, I hurt in a way that I did not know was possible. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing that helps, I guess, also translate emotions, right? Through just space, not just like through touch or anything. Like you get people invested in you in any kind of competition, right? Where your friends are watching you in there, and if they know like how hard you work and how passionate you are about it, then I feel like that, like that expands out without even having to like touch or write it down for someone to like read it, or like just in those moments the ability to feel how someone else feels, like it just changes, right, for humans. When you watch like events, I feel like, and you're really like drawn to it because it's your favorite team or it's your friend that's competing for a title, right? Or just a normal fight, but it's still your friend that you see every day, that you even maybe train with sometimes. Like, when I found, when I watch Bobby's fights, because he's like my first best friend at the gym, like, I feel like I'm in there, right, with him. Like, I'm like, throw that, like, I saw him, not his last couple fights, but like, I think this was the one in the Siam Fight League. Like, he goes into like, they're in a little bit of an exchange, and then he flashes the, like, I'm going to spike elbow you, and throws it. Like, I got so hyped in that moment, man, because I felt like, like he's going to hit you with this no matter what you do about it. And that, like, when your friend are doing those kind of things, and you're in there with them, right? Like, that's, you just feel differently. You feel engaged, even though you're not actually taking part in the football game or the hockey game or the boxing match, right? Like, you're just not, you might not physically be in there, but you're still, emotionally there, right? Your heart's there, your soul's there.
Yeah, no, I remember like that the day of that fight, after your fight, we all just stood in the lobby. We were all quiet. We were all somber. Well, the first question on every one of our minds was, how is Joey?
Oh, terrible! I was crying my eyes out in the back.
Yeah, and like we were ready to fucking like cry with you, and like it was like we actually stood there because we didn't know what to do.
Well, yeah, dude, it sucked. Yeah, I felt so bad. Like I ran back there. Yeah. And it took like Dato throwing a towel over my head, freaking Jill literally lifting my head up, being like, dude, it's fine. Like, you stood up, you got up on your feet, most people don't. Most people just take that and they lay on the ground and take the 10 count,
Yeah.
Got up twice. So that to me was a victory, right?
That's pretty hard, actually.
That to me was an emotional victory, because I mean, the longest time I thought always to myself, like, if I do get tested, do I have that, little dog in you, right? Where you can just keep going and going and going until the ref stops it, or they stop you, like, physically, with a good knockout or a good submission if it's like an MMA fight, right? I always had that in the back of my mind, like, do I really have that other part that you need to be a fighter? And like that fight kind of checked that off for me. I was like, oh yeah, I do. Like, cool.
And you don't know if you have it until you hit that point too.
It's the only thing I feel like, yeah, like it you need to have that specific moment for you to test that personality trait, I guess, right? The true fight or flight response in the human is like, can you just, all right, he knocked me down. Well, I'm here anyways. I might as well get back up and try my best to knock them down again, right? Or back to get even on the scorecards or something like that, right? Like, you know, that's definitely one of those moments for a, I guess, amateur fighter, any fighter, right?
Any fighter.
Like, can you pass that little hump, right? So that was a good net positive for me.
I feel like a lot of people get defeated by that hump, especially the guy that Kai fought in his last fight. Like that guy just like sat there and just stared at. I remember there was a moment because I was right next to the ring.
He had the looks on his eyes of like, well, I signed up for the wrong thing.
He looked at Kai like, I can't believe you hit me that hard.
This is what this is like?
Yeah.
Man had a padded record. It looked like it. Like, I'm like, there's no way this guy's this bad. And he was.
Yeah.
But he was like 9-1 or 10-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, he had a good amount of fights. And you're like, okay, good test for Kai. No. It was like not even close. It was like Kai was confused.
He was actually really disappointed. I remember seeing him after the fight. He was so surly. He's like, "What?" He's like, "This is not what I signed." He said, "This is not what I signed up." Yeah. They both had the same thought for two different reasons.
Yeah, for two different reasons. In the ring, when he called it, Kai looks over at all like this Dato stuff. He's like, "It's over." Like, he looks so sad. Yeah.
The rest of us are screaming because we're like, "Yeah!" Like Kai fucked him up, but Kai was like,
"It was a nasty, like, clear, one-sided. What, 2 minutes, if that? Not even, because the fight." The round was 2 minutes, so it was under.
It was a round and a half he finished.
Round and a half. In the second round, he got him. And I'm just like, okay, well, yeah. I mean, I would feel the same, I guess, right? If I don't have, that's why I don't have anything against that loss I took, because it was
you tested yourself.
Competitive fight. Like, it was fun to be a part of.
That was a really. I watched that fight a lot just because it was really good. It was technical and.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good experience, and it was like. Yeah, going back to Kai's situation, right? Like, yeah, he wanted to be tested and just to see the natural, I guess, comedian in him, right, come out, where it's like he's not even trying, but he's like, guy's like wallowing around, and Kai's like, it's over?
I mean, as human beings, we have a natural sense for adventure. We're explorers, we're engineers. We want to figure out what's the limit of whatever it is that we want to figure out. You know, as far as fighters, you know, we want to figure out like what's the limit of our fight capability, and if we we don't ever hit that potential, we feel like we wasted our time.
Or it's that lovely phrase like, when will I meet my equal?
Yeah,
right? It's so true in fighting, because even if you do, it's like you can train again to maybe beat them, right? And like, that's always been like also the exciting part about it is like, you know, how far can you take this, right? How far can I really take this? Well, I see that pro contract in front of me to sign. That's like a huge goal, right? So if I can see that, that'll be, you know, that'll make my life pretty much, right? Like, just that much happier. Just like, I accomplished this huge random goal that I didn't have on like day one of, you know, figuring things out of what I want to do in life. You know, when people are asking, well, what do you want to go to school for? What do you want to do here? You're like,
I want to go punch people.
Like, I still, like midst of high school, like the first 2 years, like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm going to go be a Muay Thai fighter. Oh yeah, I want to be a professional Muay Thai fighter. And then a few years in, I'm just like, I kind of want to, not even, what was it, like 9 months to a year in, I was like, I kind of want to fight. And then we got my first fight. And then like that one was fun. It was exhilarating. You're just like, I felt a different type of emotion, right? And I'm like, I want that again. Still, I wasn't at that juncture. I want to be a pro fighter, right? Like,
yeah.
No, I was just like, I want to experience that again. And I didn't for the next like, what would have been like almost 5 years, I think, total, 4 to 5 years. And then I took an ISKA tournament with the gym I was training at in Pembroke Pines. Got second place, but still then, I'm just like, that was fun. I want to do that again. And then moved to Tampa, right? And then COVID hit and had my first fight with this gym. And I fucked that guy up, right? And that was a clear one-sided fight, up a couple weight classes than what I fight at naturally now, right? I fought at 160, right? So I literally just didn't drink and eat for like 1 day, sweated a bit, and I went from 65 to 60. It was perfect. And I was still like, I want to do that again. I was like still like so close to like where we're at now. It wasn't a goal until like maybe a couple of years ago, where I'm just like, yeah, I want to make that a thing, like inevitable. I will sign that pro contract at some point. my goal is by the end of next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if I reach that, but moving into 2024, that's like the main goal.
All right. Tell me about your first fight ever.
A Sanchow tournament. yes, that's favorite to reference.
Mm-hmm.
Because a little different than Muay Thai. Still, I would argue, almost as free of a sport for competitive martial arts go, which is great.
Well, they allow takedowns, right?
Exactly. So it's it's kickboxing that also allows clinch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not just Thai clinch. Like you're allowed to, wrestle like a Greco style. Like you can set up for judo throws, duck unders, right? You can do blast doubles. You just can't do traditional, like I think it's like freestyle things where your heel, toe, knee, those kind of transitions into takedowns. Your knee just can't, touch the ground for those. So I'm like, all right, cool. I like blast doubling. At this juncture, I just finished trying out wrestling in high school, so I did like 3-ish solid months of training at one of the better high schools in South Florida for wrestling, so a little convenient there. So I was just ready to like slam this guy on the ground. That's all I really wanted to do. We go in there. It's a good range. I didn't have to cut much weight, so it was like 45 to 55. So I just had to get to 55, so not bad. The kid was fine. Was older than me, and I'm like, well, okay, cool. All right, he's bouncy. He so not Tampa Muay Thai, but he was from Tampa, so I thought that was pretty cool. I'm gonna find someone from Tampa, which is where I was born in Tampa, so it's just cool to be around like that small world feeling of martial arts, and just being curious. I was like, all right, I wonder how this is gonna go. Never been in a fight, right? I've been like picked on and like dealt with bullies and physically like I punched back and hit back, and had like scuffles with my friends, but not like.
But street fights are very different from.
Yeah, not like that.
Ring
so
fights.
that was like definitely a lot of nerves in my body, and I was frozen in time, right? And we get ready. It's a youth Sancho fight, so they stick the little bodyguard on you. So that was kind of weird, and I'm like, well. Like half of my arsenal is like I like kneeing people in the clinch. Yes, since day one. Yes, been a clinch fighter, so have to tell that. I'm more Cal since day one, and I'm like, well, he's not gonna feel these. It was thick, dude. It was like easily half an inch of like a protection just everywhere here, right? Like the shin guards were like less protected, then. So that was fun. And on the day of the weigh-ins, I actually my coach found out. Because he had the old form from back when he did the tournament, which was like 2007. So, things would probably change. Of course they did. They would not, youth couldn't throw to the head. But found out that day, like, oh yeah, you can.
Oh,
so we were just training. Yeah, it was cool because they were just training to hit them like chest, body, like the weird like karate style tournaments where you can't throw a punch to the head, but you can wheel kick someone off.
It's only
so weird.
It's only in Shotokan.
Shotokan, right? Yeah. So it's always weird to watch like Shotokan fights. They're just like, they're just doing this little to the body, so it looks kind of funny. But that's what I was thinking I was going to get myself into, just throwing hard body shots and then trying to pop my head kicks up or something like that, right? And then clinch him. So no, that's obviously not how it planned out because fights don't do that, right? You can't just write the story and then just boop, press play for a fight. It writes itself. It writes itself for very much so. So we get out. I notice he's orthodox, and I'm like, ooh, I know how to do this. You go to beat the foot on the outside, boom, power kick, power cross, right? Like it's gonna be easy. And then he starts jumping, feinting with his in like stepping in, stepping out, right? Little hops. Like it looks like he's throwing a teep. I'm like, cool, I got this. Got shit on here. And I start a side kick. Oh, he drops me in like the first 10 seconds. Like this is, I think, this is the only time in a fight where I've ever been like, flash KO'd or something like that. I see like the white. I hit the ground. I see the ceiling. I do like one of these, and then I get back up, and like all the nerves just gone. I lost all the nerves. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, I'm here now. And I just start like doing more, like throwing more of my cross, hook, get into the clinch, throwing long knees, throwing leg kicks, and get him in the clinch and just start plumb. He has no clinch. I'm like, yes, knee. And this is mind you, this is now into the second round, right? Because they're only like 1 minute in Sanchow fights. And they score at the end of every round, which is not a good thing in fighting for those that want to try to do it for MMA. Not a good thing.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. But that's like, no, because you go to that third round, which is what happened. We don't get the third round because he won round 1 and round 2. We don't know how he won round 2. It's okay. But gets to the clinch 3 different times in that round, and then like 5, 10 knees, and I just dropped my level, right? Good old level change. I grabbed his hips because they're right there, and then just jump onto my shoulder. 3 different times. Yeah, I get like nasty blast doubles on him, which should score a lot in Sancho, right? And then whatever reason, I guess because the clinch was a little neutral, because as I was throwing the knees, he was throwing body hooks, which I'm like, for me, in my brain, that's not scored in a plum, but different sport, so whatever. And I was 17, I didn't really care at the time. But I lose the second round, and we're just like, my coach turns around and goes, and then looks at me, I'm sorry. I thought we had that and we were gonna go to the third. The guy was gassed. Like, we saw him in his coach, and he's like doing one of these, like hands on his knees, like dry heaving, right? And I'm like, I got this. And then they took it from, right, they took it on the scorecard, so it's okay. But yeah, that was a very interesting first time experience, because I get dropped in like my first fight in like the first 10 seconds. So I'm like, well, it goes, I guess it flashed, like fast forward into like what I was saying about the Moritz situation, right, with the elbow that was nasty and landed really hard, right? I was sitting down there for when he started the 8 count, and I was conscious after he landed the elbow. It just hurt, it just kind of was like, ow, right? And then the exchange in the clinch, then I end up on the floor. I'm just sitting there like chilling, like, breathe, right? Breathe. All right, he's at like 5 or something, right? All right, get up. So really it's like, in that moment, briefly, I was like, actually, thankfully that I was still kind of in the fight, because I was able to relax, versus the first time I was like, what the heck was that? Like, he just said, I was standing here, he was right there. Next thing I know, I'm looking up at the ceiling, and I'm like, and I'm getting back up, like just consciously, or subconsciously for a moment, I guess, just getting back up. And I'm like, bro, what was, like, I still was like, what the heck was that? Like, what did he hit me with? And it hurt, like, obviously, like, the whole next 2 days, like, my jaw was like half, like, didn't want to open. So I'm like, ow, that's weird. And then, yeah, I didn't have that many fights until I didn't have any fights until like 4 years after that, when I moved from home, Jacksonville, back home, and training at Pembroke Pines gym that I was at, and got those 2 fights in the ISK tournament, which is nice. But yeah, just that weird first experience. It's different, being dropped and then being like, well, I got to do something about this, and then trying to, and then it not going your way. Just getting that full fight experience in like one fight, right?
Can anyone ever be prepared for their first fight?
No. 100% no. No way.
Why not?
Because if it's your first fight, you have no idea what you're getting into. Your sparring is not even close to how it feels when you are fighting. But when it comes to the nerves, the cardio that you think you have, right? The the technique that you think you have, right? The good defense that you think all of that stuff. Like, no. It goes out the window. Right? Especially in your first fight, goes out the window. Most of them tend to end up into scraps, right? Which is sometimes fun to watch. Sometimes it turns into a one-sided beating, which is like, just throw in the towel, Like,
but I've done a few smokers. I'm ready for a fight.
The smoker thing, that depends too on the gym that's running them, I feel like, because you get some pretty hard, like, you get some fights when you do some smokers for sure. So I guess that depends on the control of the gym, the scenario that you're in. But even then, like, most smokers too, if they do it right, they even give you the chest protector too. So you're not like actually getting hit solely in the body, right? Or like how we do it with sometimes, we'll just treat it like a sparring day. You just call it such, but it's still sparring,
Yeah, we call it hard sparring.
Yeah, like, or it's like, sometimes it's like really dependent on who you go with. You're pretty much having like a smoker. It is what it is. That's just, those are the things that happen during sparring. Right? So smokers, they're here or there as far as like the intensity, just like when you spar, the intensity, right? But it's just all the factors that go into it, especially if it's your first one. That's still how I feel on number 9, right? It's just like, I don't know. He could knock me out. He could almost knock me out in the first 10 seconds, right? He could, have better clinch than me. He could have better hands than me. He could be a fast kicker, and it's like I'm too well with those guys, right? So he could know what to do when I catch his kick, right? And then what happens after that when I fail to sweep somebody, right? Is all those things still go through your head, I don't want to fight when you're back there getting your hands wrapped. Oh, my family's here, I'm going to be embarrassed. All those things will still run through your head. So that doesn't change, but just
from fight 1 to fight 9?
Yeah, still hasn't changed for me. So I don't think that changes much for most fighters. I feel like I still think the roller coaster of emotions is something you have to go through, right, to get in there. I feel like it's a sign to know that you're actually ready. So I actually like that I have to go through that it still runs through my mind, because I feel like once it doesn't, I'll be too comfortable, and that'll be like, the bad one, right? Where you see like the guys at the end of their career where they get like flatlined, it's like, you probably should have retired like 3 fights ago, right? So I think that's like the positive indicator, like, all right, I'm in this, I'm ready for this. It's like, if I feel those emotions.
And you're gonna go through it all over again for your next one.
Every time. Every time, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Going back to, or I guess it was our last one, right? That's where I feel at peace, when I'm in there competing. / I guess when I'm coaching too. That's pretty fun. But like true, like, nothing else matters but this moment, and there's nothing else I can do about it, right? It's when I step into ring / cage, It's definitely the better feelings. That's what I guess I search for too. So it's like, that's what's been, like I said, the most irritating thing is like, I just want to get that, it's like the feeling again. So hopefully soon, hopefully December 17th.
Hopefully.
That would be pretty awesome.
I am so rooting for you.
I think everyone is, man, and it's just good to hear, because I'm trying to put it out there, like this, the cliche they say, put it out there in the universe, and hopefully it responds well and gives it to you. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for, is that it does respond well, and I do get a name for this next fight that's coming up soon, whether it be in Tampa or Orlando.
Yeah. I mean, you're positioned well, life is all about positioning, so
I feel like I'm in a good position.
Yeah.
So like that's a perfect way to put it, right? It's like, you got to put yourself in a good position to execute the things you want to execute, make the changes you want to make. And that's the next one I want to do, is progress more in my fight. I want to get some belts, dude. Chase brought 7 into our gym, bro. Yeah. I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up to those guys.
No. We don't compare ourselves to other people, just ourselves.
Not in a bad way.
Okay.
Not in a bad way. I just have to catch up. Yeah. I have to get my own now. It's as I say, overdue, right?
You'll get there. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
No, I feel good. I feel good about I feel good about you.
Oh, I'm just. It's kind of like I'm waiting for Data to be like, oh, we got title fight. These next few, if I have to do like another 3-rounder, it's okay. I can beat someone up for 3 rounds. It's gonna be fun. But I'm waiting for that next one where him or Jill's like, hey, we have a 5-rounder for you, and I'm like, yes, that's my next opportunity, and I will bring it back.
All right. So would you rather do 5 3-minute rounds or 3 5-minute rounds?
Huh? One more time.
Would you rather do 5 3-minute rounds?
Okay.
So 5 rounds, 3 minutes back to back, or 3 5-minute rounds.
Oh, it's like the MMA question or something. You put in mixed martial arts onto me.
Hey,
I have to get blood work for my next fight, so that opens up the table that I can. That's clear for a year. I can start taking MMA fights, dude, if I want to.
Would you do MMA fights?
Yes. Oh, I 100% would. I'm not leaving that out of the wheelhouse. I was supposed to do one in like 2015, and the guy pulled out. Irony. Or consistency.
Somebody starts seeing you down at South Tampa?
Well, no. I mean, Mondo's over at our gym.
He is, but
I have Mondo. I have John.
You have John.
Yeah, he can take care of me.
All right.
I got Memo when he wants to show up at the gym. I could build like a low key small team that I don't have to tell anybody about, that just slowly trains me grappling again, right? Just those 3 guys, and then I can reveal them later on, like pull a GSP and like, look at my coaching crew. And it's John Danaher, Greg Jackson,
Henry Cejudo.
Phil, what's his name? The guy that the Watt Muay Thai in New York, WAT. Phil Nurse, there you go. I think, or is it Phil Nurse? I'm messing it up right now, so I don't want to like make the mistake. But that's his gym. He's in his corner. He's his Muay Thai coach, dude. Like, this man had a slew, and Freddie Roach, right? He had a slew of legends in his corner, of coach legends. Like, not even just legendary fighters, but coach legends. And you're just like, that's why he was so good.
Yeah.
Because he was, not only was he a good listener, right? He was very consistent with like his training outside, his strength training, his diet, his conditioning. But look at who coached him. Look at all the guys who coached him. For Oz, right? His head coach.
And it's that they wanted to coach him too.
Yeah.
Just because you have a good coach doesn't mean shit if they don't want to coach you and you're because you're best. You just.
I forget which fight it was. One of his like UFC title fights, but he brought in John Wayne Parr to help train with him. Because the dude is smart. Like, he knows who to help him.
He exited on top, my dude.
And exited on top.
Yeah.
First. Before Khabib. He did it right.
Yeah.
And if anyone who's done it right, it has to be George.
GSP.
Who's pound for pound great? George.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a hot take for some people, but no PEDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Double champ, right? Went out on top. Bam, bam, bam.
Who had a more impressive fight career, GSP or Floyd Mayweather?
If we're talking like all around sports, I think they're both kind of tied. I mean, minus the fact that Floyd has perfection to his name, right?
If we exclude his amateur fights, then yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that reminds me. I've seen that interview. His post losing the bronze or gaining the bronze. Yeah, he lost out on the Olympic final, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like sad Floyd. It's weird to see because he's never like that, right? But it's weird to see sad Floyd.
But I think if he never lost that, he would never have become the great that he is today.
Yeah, 110%.
Like if you won that,
right?
It would have potentially have gassed him, and then he'll have taken L's in his third or fourth or fifth pro fight.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Right, that could have been the case because you never know like how the course of time would have changed if things were different.
Just like when you watch Canelo pre-Floyd and Canelo post-Floyd, it's like two different boxers. Like
his defense goes through the roof. Like his defensive boxing game just amplifies after he takes that loss to Floyd. Yeah. And Floyd taking that loss, you just see how he's like he didn't change his in-ring style too much until like middle through that career. Like the cliches. There's a Pretty Boy Floyd and Money Mayweather. So there's like literally they give him two different like personalities like within his fight career. So for I guess to make more sense, that's kind of how you want to think about him. Like his transition, like he was a tough boxer, right? When he was coming up, right?
He had an old school style.
When he was
Pretty Boy.
Yeah. And then he transitioned into that. Everyone knows him now as the best defensive fighter ever. Blah blah blah. Like the Floyd Mayweather, Money Mayweather. How he's known, right? Guy who gets dudes right before their prime or right after their prime. Like all the casuals talking of like trying to talk shit on Floyd. It's like because they don't know the full extent of his career.
Yeah. We're gonna ignore Ricky Hatton.
That one was fun. I don't care. He talked way too much shit, man. He deserved that. He deserved to go face first into that turnbuckle. That was perfect. That was a perfect check hook. It was beautiful, and the ending was it was the icing on the cake for the storyline. Like that just made so much sense.
We're gonna ignore Miguel Cotto.
No, that one was not. Cotto was on point. He's still on point.
Yeah, no. I'm saying
messed him up.
Yeah, I'm saying like the people who say like he fought people out of their prime. Like, no.
He beat a prime De La Hoya. He beat which people say he was out of his prime. I'm like, no, he wasn't. Like,
no, he was out of his prime when Pacquiao got to him. And Pacquiao retired him.
Yeah, Pacquiao actually retired him, right? So like, no, there's that one. There's when he fought Corrales. It's like, no, Corrales was like, at his best. Like who's putting these little memes together, man, that don't understand the career of Floyd and his opponents?
Yeah. And Ricochet Mosley.
Oh, Mosley tested him, and he still stood in there and won on the cards.
He made him do the stanky leg.
Yeah, before everyone only wants to quote the Maidana, right? The fight, right? When he tested Floyd, it's like, no. Like Mosley did it first.
Actually, no. Zab Judah did it first.
Zab Judah. Zab Judah. That's right. I forgot about the Judah fight.
Yes.
So you have all these, like, that's what I'm saying. You have all these tough tests and that clean record. I don't know. I think
So
he's
him versus GSP.
Well, in the conversation, I think he takes it just like, by a hair. GSP has those, even though he avenged them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he still has those 2 losses where he did, like, he should have never lost to Matt Serra. Sorry, like, even if you did get the revenge back, it's like he should have never lost to Matt Serra. But the way they both exited, I mean, Floyd technically didn't exit yet, but doing expedition fights.
He's doing exhibitions where he's just knocking out Japanese people.
Or YouTubers.
No, he didn't knock out Logan.
I feel like if he was a smaller dude, it would have been one of those oops, right? But because he's 200 something pounds, like, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, no, Logan fights at 190.
Fights.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and Floyd fights at like 145, 150.
Competitively, what it was like 40.
Yeah.
Not even like it had to be 40 around that 140 mark.
So Floyd's walking was.
Because remember, he brought
Logan's
Canelo down to like 52, 51,
and then washed him.
Because he's a talented Canelo who's still just as aggressive, but yeah, man, he made him like cut that weight, which is funny to see. Like, he still took the fight.
So what's going to happen with Canelo now that he has Dimitri Bivol on his record?
Nothing.
Same thing.
I think nothing changes for Canelo, right? For his, as far as like who he's fighting at middleweight.
I mean, who's he going to fight now? Triple G's gone.
Triple G is gone. Right? He got that one over with. Let's see. At the super middle, who is there? Like who's there that he hasn't eaten yet? Right?
Nobody worth mentioning. As far as the casual is concerned.
No one competitive, no one worth mentioning other than the mandatories probably that he has to run through again. And there's no sense. I mean, I guess if he feels like he still has it to go up again and fight, get that rematch for but he got smoked at light heavyweight after, like, even when he was fighting Kovalev, he was losing that whole fight.
And then he got that amazing uppercut from.
Yeah, he murdered him.
God.
I know. He murdered him and sent him like dead through the ropes. But even then, he was, losing the fight, right? So I think he's at that weird, awkward juncture in his career as being one of the greats at the moment, but don't really have much to fight other than getting that rematch up at 75, or I guess Benavidez, right? That would be the next best thing for him to fight.
Yeah. Like, what do you do when you're the top dog and you don't know what else to climb? Because like for journeymen, like for people low level guys like me, where like I know there's difference between me and you, and then me and Kai, and then me and Kevin Ross. Like I know like huge. Yeah. I know that there's that delta is massive.
That's interesting to think about because again, I don't understand that mindset either, right?
Yeah.
Just yet. I would like to. I would like to understand that position in life where you're just like, well, I smashed these top 3 guys at my actual weight class. And I went up here and I stomped this guy for this belt, but this guy beat me on the scorecards. I think I can beat him, but I also have this guy at my natural weight class, coming up, or Benavidez, who probably needs the title fight, right? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Like, as someone who kind of watches, I think the Benavidez fight makes the most sense for him. But will Canelo's team do it? That's the bet. That's where boxing gets like boxing, where money gets involved, and you see like what's going on with the heavyweights. Why is Tyson Fury fighting Chirioso again? Third time. Like, why?
For the same reason he fought Anthony Joshua 3 times. No, not Joshua. The other big Deontay Wilder 3 times.
Yeah, well, I mean, that made, because there was a draw involved, right? That made more sense, right? And they actually, they both drew a crowd, right? No one no one knows who he is, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those were 2 prolific heavyweight boxers. One of the better WBC champions going up against the questionable lineal GOAT before he had his little, cocaine extravaganza, right? Mm-hmm. And Joshua was kind of like the interlude guy, right? But it's like, no, you clearly have fight Usyk. It's like, it's that simple, but it's like, no, I need to fight Chorizo.
That's what we've all been asking for the last...
Well, it's the clear sense, because you have WBC champ / current lineal, right? And you have the guy who literally has all the other belts, that you need to make you the technical lineal champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what more do we need? Yeah, like, how can we not make this happen?
We're gonna get another Pacquiao Mayweather moment where they fight 6 years later.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I guess what's been happening with Errol Spence and Crawford, right? It's like we've been literally at the same weight class, right? Or at the 54 weight class, where they're still taking God knows how long to set up the fight. They had to push it back again. It was supposed to happen, not this past weekend or the weekend before, was like the official like scheduled date for the Crawford Errol Spence Jr. fight, and where are we at now? We still gotta wait.
If we get another Ferguson Khabib event, I'll be so pissed.
I don't think that's ever. Hopefully that never happens again, where you have just like, oh, injury bad luck, and then next time, oh, weight cut bad luck, and then injury bad luck, and then weight cut bad luck,
and then you lose to Gaethje, and then
Gaethje takes your soul. Remember that Gaethje, I think, took the rest of the fight out of Ferguson that he had left, and then he's just been.
That fight changed him.
Yeah, as I was saying, like I think that was peak. That was right after peak Ferguson, and then Gaethje took all of that away from him, and then we got the decline and career of Ferguson that we've been seeing, where he tapped to a guillotine.
Guillotine by Nate.
Yeah, which is not, Nate's not bad at all in jiu-jitsu, but it's Nate's just like
good.
But so I'm saying, so is Ferguson. Like his ability to scramble always has been on point, and he looked like he just like, I'm here. I'm gonna take the mercy tap.
He's the guy who's famous for bloodying people up, and he's the one who got bloodied.
Bloodying people up and having insane just focus in scrambles as a grappler. It's like he had the perfect combo, just the worst luck, right, when it came to getting to that title.
So what do you do at that point? Because you don't exactly tell a fighter, hey, you shouldn't fight. He's a fighter. That's in his blood. That's in your blood. Like it's.
I think the issue is he doesn't have a head coach technically, so no one's there to tell him. That's the main issue.
But even then, like that's gonna be such a tough conversation when like, yo, listen, like we know like this is your heart and your soul.
But the right one.
We're asking you to tell you to not express your heart and soul anymore.
Which is why you need a coach, because you need a good coach. You need the person there to tell you that when you need it, right? I mean, how many fighters you see go way off the deep end before they retire?
Almost all of them.
Yeah, like the percentages skewed astronomically, right?
And you get a Ronda Rousey situation where you have a coach that tells you have great striking. Though her coach told her she had good striking.
Who?
Ronda Rousey.
Well, yeah. And the weirdest thing is, he's not like the worst coach in the world, which is so odd.
Yeah.
Like he's not a terrible boxing coach. Like he's never been that like known as that. Yeah. It's just odd to see like you're giving this false hope to this individual, and she has to, I guess for Ronda, unfortunately, get a literal reality check from Holly Holm. Like, no. you ain't about this life, and you can't strike. Not even like you can't strike, but you ain't about this.
Here's my foot.
Yeah, here's my hands, and then here's my foot.
Here's my hands and my foot.
Dude, she ducked under and made her like just trip on the ground. Like she had no balance. She's like standing up. Ronda had no balance. So like if you have any concept of like that concept of training and flowing and sparring, when someone just ducks under, you're not at that point where you're gonna throw your hook and just flail and fall over on yourself, right?
I feel like you're almost better off going for a kidney shot, because
just not even like to name shots, just to be like, no, hey, you've trained enough and you've had, quote, at that juncture, right, enough fights to where you're not throwing your hook like that, where your whole upper body's just flailing forward and you fall over on yourself. Like you have better balance at that juncture, and you don't. And she showed us that she didn't.
So I have a question about that at that point. You had mentioned earlier that there's no preparing for your first fight. There's also like no preparing for your 9th fight, 12th fight, or whatever, because like you run that scenario over and over in your head, and a lot of times like everything that you've known in practice just goes out the window. Could it be that she actually does know how to box, she does know how to strike, but at that moment she was so wrapped up that it all went out the window?
Have you seen her shadow boxing videos?
That's a very, very
She
good
doesn't
answer.
know how to strike.
Okay.
There's evidence out there for people to go down
Okay.
that rabbit hole. So it's like, no, I don't think that's the question.
Okay.
But there is the question of how much is it for a coach, which is also a good coach, to boost that fighter's ego enough to where they think they are the best in the world. Because you need to also
There's
do
an element
that.
of that.
You need to do that for every single one of your fighters every time they step into that ring. Like, that's even how I felt the last fight when I had the warm up, and then it wasn't like, you know, any of my direct coaches, they all said it in their own ways. But when my friend Brandon Waters, another fighter in the Tampa Bay area, he just like looked me dead in the eyes and he's like, yo, you tell yourself right now you are the best. Like, you know, putting that into your mind is also crucial to get into the fight, right? But, you know, there's also that fine line of, you know, the reality check. Like, you also like,
It has to match reality.
yeah, like you definitely need that to get in there. But you also have to, like, when I said that to myself, yeah, I knew. I'm like, yeah, my boxing's great. My clinch is phenomenal. My sweeps are on point, like as you saw in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it wasn't an issue of skill on top of it. That was an issue of maybe not bad coaching, but just bad skill with the fighter. So how much time did she put into her boxing, right? Also, right, it's like, also, is Edwin Pervanian, however you pronounce his name, right? I'm probably butchering that, but how, like, in the moment, how good of a coach is he? That's also another factor, right? Like, my head coach, or actually not my head coach, all my fucking coaches, dude, they're all good in the moment, right? They all know what to say at the right time, right? It's phenomenal, right? It's so convenient to have. I can hear Dato as clear as day when I need to throw a kick at the end of a combination I didn't do in the midst of the fight. I can hear him. I can hear Jill when she's telling me to breathe in the clinch and telling me when to turn. Like, I had the fight with Andrew Winter, however many last October, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when I first got him against the cage in the clinch, I physically hear Jill say, all right, turn him with your right side, and like, boom, right there, instantly against the cage. You know, being able to like have coaches that are good in the moment is just as essential as having that coach that's able to give you that ego boost to believe in the false sense of reality that you are the best in the world, right? Because in that moment, you need to believe that, right? Whether it is your first fight, or whether it is your first title fight, or whether it is your first world title fight, you need to believe that.
100%. Reality definitely needs to be there.
On top of it, on top, that's the little like cherry on top, is reality needs to be there.
That's a tough balance to maintain.
I think you get that in your training.
There's this moment that I think about, that I read about Kobe Bryant, where they were playing. I forgot who they were playing against. It was probably against the Sixers. And his team there was one guy on his team. I forgot who it was, but there was, you know, he wasn't doing very well. He was supposed to play the pocket, right? But then like Kobe just looked up to him and went, "You fucking suck right now." And the guy said, "I do." And Kobe's like, "I need you to get better." He goes, "I will." And then they go ahead and win the game. Like, he was like the linchpin for the entire like
just a little
strategy.
Simple message like that is all it takes, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes that's literally all it takes. To convince you that you need, that you have to prioritize something, to convince you that you are the best at this in this moment, whatever that push that you need, like, it's important. It's just as important as, you know, your preparation for the actual event itself, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to fool yourself that you're unstoppable to an extent, right? Mm-hmm. Even though reality is that's not true at all, right? Like, you will get hit, you will get rocked, TKO'd, you will get, you know, tossed down potentially, or swept in a Muay Thai fight, given my example, right? There's all those variables, but at the moment when you step in, like, you need that convincing, right?
I think it's called Useful Illusions.
Useful, yeah. That's a great thing to word it, right?
There's a book I read about a year ago that talks about how the part of your brain that feeds your ego, tells you stories, is also the same part of your brain that allows engineers and artists to be creative and innovative, because you're telling a narrative to yourself, and it's no different from writing a song where you're creating a narrative. You're being an actor, and the people who are able to tap into that who were able to assume an identity, kind of like how Beyonce, when she first got started in her music career, she was originally a choir singer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then her father noticed she had a propensity for performance arts, so he got her into like dancing, ballet, and got her into like doing like hip hop videos. Where if you're a choir singer who used to praying God, praising Jesus, and now you're on stage, you're doing all these sexual gyrations, like there's a huge disconnect there. Beyonce couldn't do that as when she was a kid, so she went ahead and created a second identity called Sasha Fierce. So whenever she got on stage, she was no longer Beyonce Knowles, she was Sasha Fierce. And she's like, well, Beyonce Knowles can't do this, Sasha Fierce can. So yeah, so that was like the useful illusion that she used to become a higher performer.
Oh, that's a good example, right?
Yeah,
I like that one because I didn't know that. You have such a great performer in Beyonce, you would think, right?
Yeah.
Quote unquote could come naturally, right? Yeah. But it's never really the case. We all have to kind of fool ourselves a bit in order to be put in those big situations or to become better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like that proves that point a little bit. Like you need a little bit of a false sense of reality to potentially like maybe not only grow, but to be better at something,
Mm-hmm.
like you're putting on like, your superhero mask potentially, right? Like you're changing your identity a bit. You have all these new cool powers, right? Like that's kind of along the same lines in order just to convince yourself just for that moment that you're the best performer in the world or you're the best fighter in the world. Like it might all you need just to win or just to have a fun fight.
100%. if Conor McGregor had all the skills he had when he was coming up, when he knocked out Jose Aldo in 12 seconds, if he didn't believe he was the man, but he still kept all of his skills, would the world know his name today?
I mean, probably not, because at that same juncture, you had the other, like, I guess the great value example or parallel to Conor McGregor was Joe Duffy, right? Cage Warriors champion, out of Ireland, had a Irish following. Where was it? Right? And then his skill, I would say, was way
better,
way more well-rounded and better than McGregor, right? From his grappling to his jiu-jitsu, his wrestling, his boxing wasn't as good as Conor, right? His kicks weren't as versatile, especially at that time in McGregor's career. But look what happened to him. Look at the trajectory of his career. He wasn't as bombastic, right? He wasn't as confident in himself. He didn't have that like sense of false reality for a bit,
He probably would have gotten ran over by Jose Aldo.
Yeah, that fight would not look the same. How it looked, and that's a little questionable one too for McGregor. I feel like if they ran that back right after, we would have seen a different fight too. But that's just me liking Jose Aldo too. So
no, Jose's the man.
Jose is the man, dude. The original goat at the smaller weight classes.
He was the baddest man on the planet up until that moment.
Yeah, like literally, he took that not directly, but he took that away from Jose, right? Of being the baddest man on the planet, right? Which is normally just given to the heavyweight guy, because heavyweight. But Jose had it for a minute, dude, and that was phenomenal to see a little guy, represent, right? Someone who also came from soccer and likes to throw leg kicks and also has a Muay Thai background, and but there's no bias or whatever to Jose Aldo or anything like that.
That was so biased.
100%. I loved him, man. And so, even though I liked Conor too at that moment, I still had to shed a tear because I'm like, no.
Before he went crazy.
Yeah. Before he went off the rail. Oh, goddamn. Yoked McGregor. We're in that evolution of McGregor, right?
This is so weird. We're watching John Jones climb up to heavyweight, and we're watching Conor. Whatever the heck he's doing. That guy's gigantic now.
He's like not admittedly saying he's on steroids. It's very, very watery.
Yeah. Right, well, cameras are dying.
Oh.
Yes. So
the batteries are low.
Yes, the batteries are very low. So what's next for Joey Defibaugh? What can we expect from you?
Hopefully, a fight on the 17th of December. All given circumstances go our way, right? But other than that, just coaching pretty much full time at Tampa Muay Thai. fighting, still actively fighting, trying to get more, belts under my name finally. So hopefully by the next time we meet, I'll have either one or two.
Gotcha.
Literally on my shoulders. I will do that on the podcast if I have to.
There you go.
I will be that guy.
We're gonna hang them up right behind you.
No, just right here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold it the whole time.
Yeah.
I want to hold him the whole time.
You're gonna have a super stiff shoulder.
It's okay.
Those things are heavy.
They are, even for the amateurs. I was surprised.
I held Chase's one. I was like, this is really
Dude, the Muay Thai
legit.
Grand Prix one.
This
that
is
one's
so legit.
Yeah, the IKF one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not-
they're
yeah.
heavy. So maybe. No, actually, not maybe. Fuck that. That will be the case the next time we meet. I will have a belt or two on my shoulders.
Oh, use those useful delusions till they become reality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the human experience.
Yeah. And Beyonce doesn't use Sasha Fierce anymore.
She has a new identity.
No, she's just Beyonce knows now because
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
She like changed the name of her alter ego
Yeah.
just to.
Yeah. Now she's Jay-Z's wife. Hey.
That's funny as fuck.
All right, brother.
Good as always, Rex. I gotta stuff this in my shirt.
I gotta call Dennis back because he flew up.